the reason why I was so excited to hear that you had agreed to come here is that I've listened to you give interviews, sometimes live on stage, and you mix it up. You stir it up, Mark. You know, you're not like some wallflower.
I like to give it to you straight.
Well, let's start here. You were front court, front and center for the most seismic sporting event in the last 50 years of New York sports history, maybe since the Reggie game, maybe. You were courtside for Game 4, the crazy 29-point Knicks comeback. Tell me what that experience was like, because we're going to get into what makes sports, this live experience, so indelible. You had every emotion under the gamut there.
Yeah, look, I'm from Chicago.
Yeah.
Originally, and I grew up a lovable loser.
Yeah.
A Chicago Cubbies fan. And in 2016, after 100+ years, I got my dream come true.
Right.
With my son, there. My oldest son was with me, and saw the Cubs win the World Series. To have a rinse and repeat of that was insane. And obviously, I didn't grow up in New York. And I go to a lot of Knicks games, and I'm a fan of all those players and their stories. How could you not be? But there's nothing like an event of that magnitude at Madison Square Garden, right? I mean, the true mecca of arenas and stadiums for that matter.
Now,
so to see that place light up like that was just extraordinary.
I don't want you to rat anybody out, but please feel free. Who left? Did people leave?
No.
No one left?
This was not an NBA Finals with LeBron and the Miami Heat.
29 points.
The
Larry
fans walked out.
Larry David wasn't walking out?
No. Well, now, hold on.
All right.
Larry David, who WME represents, so he's a
Okay.
client, wanted to walk out.
Wanted to walk out.
Very badly.
Okay.
Now, he's a lifelong Knicks fan, to be clear.
Yeah.
And he was in a lot of pain. And I think he muttered a couple, "Get me out of here, get me out of here." He wouldn't get out of his seat.
Yeah.
He wouldn't break even half a smile. He was incredibly inconsolable. But I will tell you, I walked over to him at one point and said, "Larry, I was here earlier in the playoffs when the Knicks were down 22 to the Cavs."
Yeah.
Which is one of the greatest comebacks.
Of course.
And he goes, "This isn't the Cavs." So it was something to see. And then he was crying when they won. I mean, he and Johnny Mack next to each other, I mean, they were just elated.
You saw new sides of people's personalities that night. I think it was just kind of remarkable. This world you occupy now at TKO, I want to ask you, you are coming off a pretty mega weekend in Las Vegas where you reintroduced a major, major star in MMA with Conor McGregor, and it didn't go very well. I mean, Conor re-injured himself. He had been out of the sport for about 5 years, and he re-injured, I believe it's an ACL. I don't know if that's confirmed.
Yeah, nothing's confirmed.
But it sort of underlined what makes sports great is you really just don't know, right? It's like it was sucked that night, but this stuff is not scripted. And what is it like to experience that on the other side of it, where you just got to feel it's just a bummer all around?
No, look, but by the way, isn't that what's great about sports?
Right. I mean,
it's not always the cheers and the adulation and the celebration.
Yeah.
A lot of times, it's just as visceral.
Yeah.
It's because it's a sad story, right? It's a depression. We lost. We didn't get our revenge. I mean, in that game, the 29-point game, one of the reasons the Knicks turned that around is the first half, they couldn't stop complaining about the call. and neither could the Garden. I actually thought something bad was going to happen. I told Adam Silver this.
Like
I
a
know
fight?
He was here earlier. Like some fan was going to jump off and hit a ref or something.
Oh, gosh.
It was that bad. And apparently or reportedly, at halftime, Mike Brown told his team, Stop complaining about the call and play basketball. And that's what needed to happen. But that's what sports makes you feel. And I would just say in an era, right, where we have political division and we have constant stress and we have information overload, right?
Yeah.
Sports is really a shared cultural language where we can connect, we can mentally escape, we have a sense of belonging. And if you do it right, it really sustains emotional well-being. So it's a great place to be right now.
This is so interesting to hear you talk about this, because at the same time, we have this totally divergent economy based around artificial intelligence, and that it's, developing ways in which, frankly, we're going to outsource human connection to machines. And do you think that in some ways what you're doing is kind of counter-programming all of that?
Look, I think, and this brings in the William Morris part of my job, because you're to your point.
Yeah.
You're feeling it in all walks of life, in
Yeah.
all businesses.
Yeah.
You're feeling it in Hollywood, and you have different players that are nervous, writers, actors, am I going to be replaced?
These are existential worries. These aren't like, oh, I haven't had a hit in a couple years.
There are a lot of businesses that you simply cannot replace a human being.
Yeah.
You can't replace soul.
Sure.
That's really what it is. And I will tell you that this really portends to live events and sports, because at the end of the day, you have a 4-day work week. You have AI. That's going to...
Wait. 4-day work week. Is everybody on that?
Yeah. That's not at our company, but let's call it what it is globally.
Right, okay.
And that's, by the way, it's less in terms of when they come into the office.
For sure.
Right? COVID has changed everything. And the bottom line, and maybe the pendulum needed to swing a little bit, but it has swung too far, and we're all working on it. But what it will do is it will increase discretionary time.
Yeah.
And in increasing discretionary time, that will increase solo digital consumption, individual consumption. And you know what that does? After a while, that will strengthen the demand for physical aggregation. People, audiences, fans, consumers, they will crave physical aggregation. And there's no substitute for live events. And sports is at the epicenter.
Yeah, I mean, we already saw this quite a bit, haven't we, with, the incredible boom in concerts, coming out of the pandemic, and just, the pent-up demand that was there for these shared communal experiences. Just on that issue, what do you think about, the hot topic is pricing, ticket pricing. Concerts have gone from, you and I probably went to a few Motley Crue shows for $25, right?
I didn't do Motley.
All right.
U2, though. I went to a lot of U2 concerts.
Okay, so probably didn't cost you more than $50 for a U2 ticket. And now it's much more of a destination type event. It's a travel event for many people who go to another city to see this. Is that market sustainable? I mean, obviously there was this pent-up demand for it. Do you see that leveling off at all?
It's supply and demand.
Sure.
It's storytelling.
Sure.
It's superstars. And if the event, the players in the event, the story behind the event has enough demand, yeah.
Is there potential
I think it's kind of absurd, the whole World Cup thing. I have to be honest with you.
The pricing?
No, I don't.
Oh.
Actually, if you don't like it, don't go.
Okay,
If you can't afford it, don't go.
Gotcha.
Watch it on your TV. It's for free, and it will be a very good experience. It's not the same as being there, but we, as you know, we own On Location inside of TKO.
Yeah, that's right.
So we are the official hospitality and experiential
And you've been
provider.
in the world for quite a while.
Yeah, and we package all of these experiences.
Right.
And I can just tell you, I was talking to Jay Williams, ESPN, and the former Duke basketball guard, who we also represent, full disclosure, but and who I know was here today, and he was behind stage, and he said, look, I went out and bought tickets for my wife and myself for Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm going through On Location because it's something I don't want to miss.
Sure.
That's what it is. If you want to wait for the Odyssey till it's home and free on whatever streaming platform it's going to be, you can wait. But if you want to be first, if you want to be water cooler talk, if you want to be the one that doesn't have FOMO, you're going to pay, and you're going to pay a premium.
Well, Mark, I'm in the media. We want to complain about everything, okay? Like, give me a break here. I mean, we were sitting out.
I thought we were talking about
6
consumers,
weeks
not
out.
you.
6 weeks out, everybody was sitting there. You're absolutely right, complaining about the ticket prices, predicting like swaths of empty seats.
Hotels are empty.
Hotels, yeah, and obviously that has not borne out. There have been some empty seats here and there, but by and large, these stadiums have been packed, very noisy, very passionate. Did FIFA kind of crack something a little bit here?
Look, they crushed it. You have to give Gianni a lot of credit on that front, and his team, Matthias, and just up and down the line. They know what they have, and they brought it into the U.S. and of course Mexico and Canada into these fantastic stadiums with all these accoutrements in a terrific time zone for the U.S. obviously, which drives chatter. Let's not forget that. And they got lucky also. You always have to have a little luck that the right teams, England, U.S., Mexico, Argentina, these teams won, they advanced, and it's absolute lightning in a bottle. And I'll tell you, I'm a part owner of LAFC and MLS, and they just nailed it so much that it's going to ultimately bleed into more success for Major League Soccer. I mean, great production, great talent, great storylines, great venues, and the fans ate it up, and it was so diverse. I've been in four games, call it, I'm going to go on Sunday, but walking in, I mean, U.S. is a melting pot, and these social clips of, hey, the U.S. isn't so bad, and look, I can get a gallon of milk, look at this. Just really good for us.
And I will say, as somebody who's gone to a bunch of games too, kids, lots of families, which is not something you see at lots of sporting events often,
And not a lot of blowouts. in the games
That's
that
true,
mattered.
the games
I mean,
themselves,
the England game yesterday was sensational. I wanted England at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I was saddened by it, and I called my wife to check in, and she couldn't talk to me because she was so upset, and, Messi's done it again. But great, that's what it brings out. That's what sports brings out. That kind of flair, and it brings out argument, and argument sells.
I want to bring you back to the UFC to talk about an event that you had, a very unprecedented event about a month ago now, UFC Freedom 250, which was the UFC event which took place on the South Lawn of the White House. I was there. You were there. You had a better seat than I did. The word that I keep thinking is just, surreal. I'd never seen anything like this. I mean, it really was this giant apparatus that was built in, a month on the White House lawn, and they pulled it off with a giant hailstorm circling above us and all this crazy stuff.
Never hit us. Never, not even a drop of rain. They told us the greatest meteorologists in the world,
right,
from the military and the White House, sat in a trailer for 3 days and predicted. And when I say they said it's going to rain at 2:16 tomorrow, it rained at 2:16. And they told us it's not going to rain the day before, it's not going to rain the day after, but it's going to rain nonstop in your 5-hour event. So we were on the phone with David Ellison at Paramount. Yeah. Are we moving it?
Oh, right.
Are we delaying it?
Yeah.
And we got hit with nothing. Look, you called it. Here's what I will tell you. Everyone was so concerned about policy and right and left and politics and are you a supporter of the president? Are you not? Jason, it was none of that. It was a total spectacle. And by the way, it was about as patriotic as anything I've ever seen. If you saw the stories and the features.
Sure, and you had the armed service members around.
We celebrated 250th anniversary. Yeah. We had almost 1,200 members of the military there who were the most raucous in the crowd.
Yeah.
And you just kept looking to the White House, really in disbelief. Is that really our backdrop?
I felt the crowd was a little quiet at first because they weren't sure if they could scream on the White House lawn. And then by the end of it, it felt like a fight.
The F-16s fly over and the B-2 halfway. I mean, I really, and it was just, and we have a lot of, truthfully, a lot of talent at the WME that we invited. And I don't want to get into the and we couldn't sell them on it's not that. And if you watched it, you had some FOMO. You wanted to be there. There's no substitute for being there. And that's what sports brings.
Take the clock back, though, to the first time you heard either it was Dana or Ari or someone say, hey, we're thinking about doing a fight at the White House. What went through your head where you're like, oh, rock on, let's do it?
No, Ari and I were sitting next to each other at one of our UFC big numbered events.
Yeah.
And the president was there. And by the way, to his credit, he never gets up. I don't know how he can't go. I have to go to the bathroom right now. Okay? He goes 6 hours and doesn't get up, doesn't move.
Mark, we're looking for TikTok snackable content, and you just gave us some right there.
It's very, very shareable. Please, it'll go viral, just like the Stevenson jersey. Look, I'll tell you this. It was there. It was just kind of, it was racing, and everybody just wanted to kind of get a feel for it.
Yeah, I mean, and
I'm sorry. And what happened at the event was that he leaned over to us and said, the president wants to do this at the White House. And you're just, what are you talking about? Croquet he wants to do? Lawn tennis? Lawn bowling? What do you mean? He wants to, he's a huge fan of the UFC. He wants to help us curate the talent, the actual fights, and he wants to celebrate 250 with an event at the White House. And immediately you're just thinking about, be honest with you, the business and the brand and the White House stage. Immediately you're like, if he's serious, we're all over that. Before you ever talk about cost or how you get it done or infrastructure or mechanics, you just immediately see this is going to be a stage like you've never had. And we said, tell him if he's serious, we'll follow up next week.
Do you think it's a one and done, or do you think it's
done? No, we're never doing that again. Never.
But why do you say that if it was such a smash? It was a smash because it was a one and done?
It's at the end of the day, it's still one massive event. We did it, just like the Sphere. We've done it. We made our mark. Right? I don't think there's going up from there.
Oh, yeah?
We were first.
Yeah.
First mover.
Yeah.
It was super innovative. Massive global audience, by the way. And news outlets covering it. Wall Street Journal is covering it, not just for sports. They're covering it for news and for business. So kind of been there, done that, and it takes a lot to do, to pull off. We got lucky with the weather. Let's not try and press our luck. And it's expensive.
But I don't believe this for 1 second. I bet you anything. You guys are talking to NASA right now for UFC in space, like, or Blue Origin, or one of those.
Oh, that will do. Absolutely. Yeah. Bezos has our number.
You have had many hats in the sports industry business, and one of the most important ones is just the intersection of media and sports. And I have to confess something here, which is that I was a believer in the bubble. I thought that sports media was a bubble, that, franchises, leagues were taking advantage of what was an incredible opportunity of a product that was in demand at a time when the business was in great turmoil, and that things would resettle. It hasn't resettled, it seems. And where's it going? Like, I've given up trying to predict what valuations are going to continue to do in major sports.
Look, that as a publicly traded company in TKO, that's been one of the challenges, we've faced over the years.
Yeah.
When's it going to stop? When's it hit a ceiling?
Yeah.
Right? When our valuation's going to freeze, and, this pay and that pay. And look, the truth is, there is, at the moment, right, we can't prognosticate forever.
Yeah.
But there is no ceiling, and just up and down the line, name your sport, right? It's for all the reasons we've talked about: viewership, sponsorship, marketing, countries that are looking for economic impact, so they're willing to pay financial or give financial incentive packages to bring your circus to town. There's just no stopping it. And we're launching stars all the time. Name your sport, from the World Cup to, I know Adam Silver talked about today, Wemby with the NBA Finals. Like, there's new stars coming all the time. I'm now a small minority owner in the Las Vegas Raiders, and one of the reasons I got in was, hey, do you want to do something like this? First of all, if you can get in the most exclusive club, I'll take it. If you're
that the most exclusive club?
I do believe it is in sports.
Okay.
And if you're lucky enough to be able to do it, you're looking at it, you're like, wait a minute, Las Vegas is a great stage.
Yeah.
It sells out every week because no matter what, the casinos will fill it up.
Yeah.
And you have consumers and fans that, hey, let's go to Vegas to see the Bears play, and they make it, right, a group event, right? Sponsorship strong. Fernando Mendoza is the #1 pick. He's going to be the quarterback. Tom Brady's part of the ownership group. Can he do it on that side of the fence? There's so many good stories that you just want to jump in, and that's driving valuation higher and higher. And you saw the Seahawks last week.
For sure.
Way above what anybody anticipated.
For sure. That was a jolt. Let me ask you a question about Fernando, because he's sort of like part and parcel of what is a new era in the college athlete. And you watch him come in and how calm and smooth he is. Obviously an incredible talent. But has something happened with college sports, with the NIL and the sort of quasi-professionalization that's happened, that these guys are kind of coming in as professionals into the league, and he doesn't need that kind of, like, the learning curve is not as steep, I guess.
No, look, it's NIL is allowing athletes, right or wrong, to monetize their IP. And hey, you NCAA or you whatever conference, you're being paid all this money through sponsorship and media rights for these games, and I'm a big star in those games. What, just because I'm getting a free education or just because of my age, I shouldn't get paid? And look, those are issues for others to solve at the moment, but it's definitely, to your point, it is changing the game in unforeseen ways.
For WME, how much of an opportunity is that for you, or is that just a crazy Wild West of different states and rules and regulations?
No, it is all that.
Yeah.
And it's evolving and changing every day, and you have to have a great legal team like we do.
Yeah.
And because you have to stay on top of it.
Yeah.
You can't run afoul of all that, and states have their different rules.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you want to represent a young basketball player, who has the chance to be the next kind of first apron super max deal, you have to get in early and earlier, younger, and you have to be able to bring deals, brand deals or content deals to those 8th graders, or you won't be able to sign them.
Is it kind of like putting together a movie in that respect? Like, you have like talent of different...
You're packaging.
Yeah, effectively, right? I want to ask you about, I don't want to mispronounce it, is it Mari or...
Yes.
Is Mari an acronym for...
Mark and Ari. We're very creative.
Who's the dumbest guy out here? This guy. This is, specifically what we were talking about before. It is a real bet on the live experience. I think it involves everything from like the Madrid Open, Miami Open. You got other things going, but just basically a bet on real life. Is it as far-flung as that? Are you guys going to take, like, what is the craziest pitches that you guys have gotten for, potential acquisitions?
Look, our strategy is this is where it's all going. live experiences, as we've talked about, are going to be more in demand. We are institutionalizing events built on scarcity and durable repricing power. And that might be, to your point, the Frieze Art Fair, which happens in different places around the world, contemporary art sale, and fairs that are obviously selling art. And we have some tennis, and we have endurance, and we have marathons, and we have food festivals, but it's all about community. That's really what it's about.
And in some cases, participatory. I mean, you're in business with the athletes.
Which is yet another reason, playing back to sports, why it works. In sports, you are not a passenger. You go to a movie, and we're in the movie business.
Yeah.
Like, you're a passenger. That doesn't mean there isn't emotional transportation.
Sure.
It isn't visceral. It isn't going to make you feel something, laugh, cry, mad, whatever it might be.
Right.
It's going to elicit emotion. But you're along for the ride, and the ending is the same every single time. But in sports, there is no certainty of the result. And you're not a passenger, you're a participant. The crowd thinks they have an impact on the outcome, that they can change the ending. And that's just something you can't replace.
I mean, there seems to be this boomlet of growth among events, sports events that have both a professional component and a participant component. So whether it's like a marathon type of thing where it's like, I can train, I can join, and then you have a world-class field that's also competing at an elite level. You see this in cycling and endurance events of all kinds. Do you see that as a potential?
Well, I will tell you this is, what I see is the opportunity to monetize your media rights, streaming or linear, for just about everything these days.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was running programming at ESPN, back in the day in the early 2000s, we wouldn't even put the UFC on back then.
Sure. Yeah.
For various reasons.
Yeah.
But even events like the New York City Marathon,
yeah.
right? Everything is in demand right now. You can create events, right? Made-for-TV events. You can manufacture events. And as long as you have the right participants and the right players, the right rooting interests, right, the right loyalties that have been bred, there's no telling what an audience will pay to be a part of it, which is why you see Andre Agassi selling events in pickleball. I mean, there really is no limit.
Andre Agassi needs a chair at every television booth at every Grand Slam. I think he's a terrific analyst. He's just,
fantastic. And I'll tell you, ESPN really hit it out of the park with Andy Roddick.
Andy Roddick, another guy that has been
Anytime you can get that, right? It's when you talk about sitting next to somebody. Sitting next to Larry David at a Knicks event, it's entertaining and he's a fan.
Yeah.
But sitting next to like a Daniel Cormier or a Joe Rogan at a UFC, you're learning as you go. They're educating and they're making the experience better.
You mentioned ESPN and UFC because, eventually UFC would do an agreement with ESPN and be on ESPN for a number of years. And I remember talking to Dana White about it and him saying he didn't really understand what the ESPN fire hose was like until he saw it in action. And just the visibility and the attention and the general chatter through which the network could just get the word out. Going to Paramount, it's a different situation. And I'm curious to ask, obviously, Paramount is a very committed partner here. Is it necessary even to have that kind of firehouse anymore, or do you have that now through social media and all these other channels that are out there in the world?
No, you have it. You do have it through social, but you absolutely want to be with a partner that not only knows how to market, but actually has the tentacles, the assets, the platforms, the funnels to be able to get the word out in the most fragmented environment we have ever seen.
Yeah.
And ESPN is phenomenal. And keep in mind, we still have the WWE.
That's right. Yeah.
We have it with Netflix, but we also have it with ESPN.
That's right.
And they are quite good at the Walt Disney Company at marketing a brand, a platform, a story, a must-see appointment viewing event. And what we have found in a very quick way, we thought it would take longer, but what David Ellison is already building there at Peace Sky, they have assets to make the same kind of noise. And potentially, if this gets done with Warner Brothers, there'll be something to reckon with.
Do you have any sense for when they might go over the air with a UFC event?
As you know, we've done some pieces of preliminary events, some simulcasting on CBS. Yep. But this was designed to be a sub-acquisition and retention driver for Paramount Plus.
Right.
And they're doing really a sensational job. And I will tell you this, the experience of logging on and watching it, and I had it this weekend. I couldn't go to the Conor McGregor fight.
Oh, you weren't there? Okay, yeah.
My wife's brother was getting married, and he's 40 years old.
Didn't
it's his first marriage, and there was no way out of this for me. And my sons, who were very, of course, happy for him, but upset, very upset they were missing this fight in Las Vegas, we went outside on their phone and just streamed it. And it was an incredible viewing experience. And luckily, or unfortunately, it was 69 seconds, so it was over quick.
So it's a blessing for the wedding, I think.
Yeah, but the card was unbelievable. I mean, the card, remember with the UFC,
the patty
it's not just
was,
that. It's everything that Hunter Campbell and Dana White build underneath it.
I would be negligent if I didn't ask you about the upcoming negotiations with the NFL and networks. They are kind of going back and revisiting existing deals, sort of preempted by the NBA doing their new deals. What I wonder about is potential, down the ladder impact on other sports. And how do you see this shaking out?
Let me answer it this way. You, as a platform, as a streamer, as a media company, you want to have in your arsenal an arsenal of programming that will bring the greatest viewership and also strong demos and big time engagement across the board, entertainment to sports, and as you mentioned, music. And the NFL has shown its ability to keep climbing.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, to keep climbing, and one matchup after another, 1 week after another. And it's just, we always tease the commissioner that he must have a lucky horseshoe, in the office, because Taylor Swift, he's just always stepping into a good story that drives viewership. And so to answer your question, wherever that ends up, dividing it up, going early, same as the World Cup, this is premium programming. This and live really is the infrastructure for premium in a digitized world.
I mean, you and I are old enough to remember the NFL being a loss leader. It was not something, now I feel networks are investing in the NFL. It's effectively survival insurance, right? It's like saying, we are going to be around, we have...
I don't think anyone wants to take the chances of not having it.
Yes, right, exactly.
And if you're building other programming, you're building other assets, and you're launching a new Taylor Sheridan show, it sure is nice to do it on the backs
for sure
of an NFL matchup.
All right, quick speed round stuff. Can't say a member of your family, best person to sit next to at a game.
Depending on what the sport is.
Oh, you want the athlete?
No, exactly. You want an athlete or a coach that can actually educate you on the experience, because you can cheer all on your own.
Right.
To better understand the game, you want that expert.
You were at the Knicks with Herb Street. How's his basketball knowledge?
He is a fan. That's okay. I called him and said, I know you're Mr. College Football.
Yeah.
And I know you're Mr. NFL because he does the Amazon games. And I know you like sports of all sizes and ages and shapes. But having said that, the Garden playoff, you must come. I actually had to convince him. And then he forget about it. I mean, he wants to go to every game next year, regular season or post.
What's a sport that is terrific, live or in television, that the audience might be familiar with, that you would urge them to, if they have an opportunity to go or to watch, to do?
The WNBA is coming hard.
Yeah.
The WNBA's, look, I'm not so objective because we carried so much women's basketball, college basketball back in my ESPN days. So you get into these coaches and these players and you start rooting in Tennessee and UConn, whatever it might be. And now you just have so many formidable teams and so many really household names. I was looking at the WNBA All-Star rosters last night. It's extraordinary.
You watch television now. You watch an NBA Finals game. There are more Caitlin Clark commercials than there are for any.
I'll tell you, I got more excited about us signing Aaliyah Boston.
Sure, yeah.
From the Fever.
Yeah, of course.
Than just about anybody else we signed the last couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely. If you had to last 8 seconds in the octagon or on a PBR, on a bull riding situation.
We own the professional bull riding.
You own PBR. I've been Madison Square Garden if you get the chance.
Must go. Super novelty, curiosity.
They light the soil on fire. You cannot believe it.
That's not even close. That's actually your first bad question.
Okay, well, it's not even.
If I'm on the octagon, I'm
running.
There's nobody 8 seconds. They're not going to catch me. And if I'm on a bull, I've broken a bone in the first 8 seconds. So I'm not doing that ever.
All right, last question. You are driving cross country. I don't know if you'd ever do this, but you drive cross country with your partners, Dana and Ari. Who drives and who controls the radio?
Oh, that's a great question. I'm driving.
You're driving. Okay.
I'm controlling the radio.
Oh, both.
And I'm refereeing the arguments. That's something. That's a show. that is diners.
Executive producer.
Let's
do it.
We got to call Guy Fieri. We'll get that launched.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much.